I am not the only model railroader that you should be listening to. Yeah, I'm talking about you guys. You guys have some awesome tips and tricks because a lot of you are very experienced model railroaders. Today I'm featuring some viewer tips that I think are pretty awesome. Hey everybody, my name is Jimmy. Today I'm just drinking I think I'm just drinking store brand coffee today. Oh well, if you guys want to tell me what kind of coffees you guys are drinking just like these guys right here, you can put that in the comments below. Cheers, guys. That one was just right. Let's dive right in with a tip about custom making trees from William Casper. He is referring to a video that I did a while back about making your own custom trees. He says that coating the twisted wire that I use to make the trees with tacky glue is a good way to cover the twists before you do some painting. Now what he's referring to is a tree where I took some wire, basically some floral wire, and I twisted it up together and then basically just made my own tree with some foam and things like that. And this is a really good idea because one thing I couldn't quite get away from with this was the look of the twisted wires on the trunk. So being able to smooth that out, and this is a great tip for that. So thank you, William. That's an awesome tip. Terence Colburn has a tip about doing cork roadbed. Now, I just did cork roadbed for MRR2, which is where this tip came from. He says that using a utility knife hooked onto a hard surface at the proper angle and then taking the cork roadbed and pulling it through the blade would continually refinish the cut and the cork, eliminating all of the edges. Now, what he's talking about is cork roadbed comes attached in the actually pretty much the opposite orientation that it needs to be in, and it has some extra cork on it. Now, what I did was just sand it off, and what he is suggesting is that you basically just have a utility knife that you can run the cork through, and it's going to be really quick for trimming off that little bit of edge right there. So that is a really great tip. Thank you, Terence. Our Wisbom has a tip about doing weathering on cars. Now, I recently weathered a car with some simple techniques and pastels, and he says to wear cloth gloves while doing weathering on cars. And he says the reason for this is that skin oils will stick to cars, and it's extremely easy to do that, and you can get fingerprints all over your cars, which kind of ruins your weathering job. So that's another great tip. I really appreciate it. Our Wisbom, he leaves a lot of tips in the comments, so whenever you see his comments, like, he's got some really good tips in there, and I'm probably going to be featuring more of his in the future. But wearing cloth gloves while weathering cars is a great tip that I'm probably going to implement in the future. As many of you guys guess, I buy a bunch of LEDs for this layout because I do a lot of different things. TC Zephyr says that he buys his LEDs from Evans Designs. He says they already have the proper resistors wired in, and they are great people to work with. I'm always looking for good, solid distributors and manufacturers and stores that are really great places to buy from. So this sounds like another one. If they have a website, I'm going to link them in the description below. If they have an eBay page or something like that, I'll link that as well. So thank you, TC Zephyr. That is a great tip on where to get some easier to use LEDs for your layout. Mistrossi has some tips about when I was talking about collecting model trains and things like that. He says that sticking to an era and sticking to your favorite road name are great ideas for narrowing your search. He says that another thing that he does is have cash in your own pocket to spend and nothing else. This is a fantastic tip, especially for train shows when you go in there, because there's a lot of cash only buying when you go to a train show. So having that cash in your pocket is a great way to ensure that you don't blow way too much money, which is very easy to do in model trains because we all love model trains and we all want to basically have them all. And I'm going to link all of these videos at the end. But thank you, Mistrossi. That is a great tip for having cash in your pocket when you intend to spend that and nothing else, to keep from spending too much money on collecting trains. Jeff Klein has a tip regarding backdrops. He says, I would do backgrounds after the base, but actually before track laying. It's a lot less squirming around the base to apply, roll, and line up. And I will 100% agree. If I hadn't just found the material that I wanted to use as a backdrop so late, I would have done this, but as many of you know, when I was applying the backdrop, I did have to lean over the majority of my scenery. So thank you, Jeff Klein, for that tip, and I'm definitely going to do that in my next layout whenever I build it. I'm going to apply the backdrop before I do some track laying. I love hearing tips from you guys. If you guys have tips and tricks for model railroading for anything, leave it in the comments below. I kind of want to make this a somewhat regular thing of viewer tips and tricks because there is such a wealth of knowledge within my subscriber base that it's kind of awesome, and I want to make sure that you guys are featured as much as me because you guys have a ton of knowledge. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, drink some coffee, and happy railroading.